Today we're going to be talking about a disturbing story. A really bizarre and potentially going to end with a really sad resolution story. You see, there is a very popular white supremacist and race realist blogger, I guess you would call him, YouTuber, streamer type, named JF Gariepy. Jean-Francois Gariepy. Now, you can probably tell by his name that he's French. French. Canadian. Okay. Oh. All right. Whew. French Canadian. He's French Canadian. Ugh. Fuck, that was hard to get through. I'm sorry. He is one of those people, and he's also a horrific white supremacist. Now, I know this guy from back when he was particularly relevant in, like, the Destiny sphere. When he was, like, debating Destiny and debating, like, debate streamers and whatnot. More back in, like, 2018, 2017, in that era. And the thing that he had become quite famous for during that time, within the lefty sphere that would make fun of him, was his tendency to fantasize and post about his desire to marry, and I believe I'm directly quoting here, a non-functional autistic woman that he can travel around the country with and have sex with at his will. It was something along those lines. There was, like, a really big court case with one of his partners back in the day where they had to determine whether or not she was mentally capable of making decisions for herself and consenting to a relationship and sex with a neurotypical person, and he managed to win the case and continue to... her parents were suing him because they felt that he was grooming her and like, you know, manipulating her because of, you know, her very severe autism, and he won in the court case and gained essentially protective custody of her, I guess it would be. And yeah, just a really disgusting line of events that I've kind of, like, blacked out of my head from back in the day, because it's really just one of the most disgusting things that has happened on all of the internet. The parents got a conservatorship over her. Is that no longer the case? Either way, I don't know all the details here, because this is stuff that I've very much tried to stick in the vault of my mind and keep out of my head for a while now. I actually don't even know if that's the same person relevant to the story we're about to read. Xanderhal, oh yeah, Balth would know about this, because Balth was, you know, like, in that sphere at the same time as me. Xanderhal, he groomed an autistic woman. There was a case. He lost. Her parents were trying to get temporary guardianship, and they won permanent guardianship and kept her from him. Oh, okay, so that's how it actually went. Thank you, I appreciate it. And didn't he, like, also post about how he wanted to fantasize, or how he was fantasizing about, I think it was, like, chain fucking barely legal girls up these... It was just some weird shit. This guy's got a bizarre sexual history that is very public, and a long list of scandals involving his relationships that goes back a real long way. I genuinely don't think I can do it justice. This is the title of the article. White supremacist vlogger JF Gariepy, partner, has been missing since June. Now, I've been seeing posts about this for a while now, and I thought, you know, this probably isn't anything super serious. This probably isn't going to turn out to be anything. But now that it's been a few months, things are looking pretty serious. There's no way this is just a internet drama or rumor anymore. And we've got relatively well-known media outlets writing articles about it, so it may be worth talking about. Elora Patouone, of course it's a French-Canadian name too, 30 years old, was last seen 2 days after Gariepy dropped her off at a gas station for a mysterious trip. Oh, we can listen to the article. Interesting.
White supremacist vlogger Jean-Francois Gariepy's partner has been...
No, we're not doing that. Canadian police put out a call this month for information about an internet-famous woman who has been missing since June. Elora Patine, 30, was last seen on June 19th, 2 days after her partner dropped her off at a gas station. But while investigators seek information on the high-priority file, scores of YouTubers say they're already familiar with Patine, that she's the partner of 39-year-old JF Gariepy, a French-Canadian white nationalist internet personality who has called for a white ethno-state and hosted white supremacist figures like Richard Spencer on live streams. To JF's fans, Patine is known as Mama JF, a recurring figure in Gariepy's videos. Her disappearance has led to friction on the right, with some personalities suggesting foul play, while Gariepy says video evidence puts him in the clear of any crime. Gariepy has suggested Patine's disappearance as evidence that men should have more legal control over their wives. Cool. He and Patine are not legally married, but he said in a recent video that he considers her to be his wife. Reached for comment, Gariepy told the Daily Beast that Patine was traveling. The self-appointed journalists who are this is a quote from him, I guess. Quote, the self-appointed journalists who are today interested in the case of a free woman who has decided to travel, which they seek to present to you as a case of male foul play, are the very same people who were interested years ago at smearing the same male with lies, he said in an email. That should tell you all you need to know about the seriousness of the concerns of these people. I assume he's referring to the case he lost in regards to trying to marry and gain guardianship of his ex. She has gone on a trip and she left no trace behind, and she got rid of, apparently, anything that could help track her, including her credit cards and cell phone, Gariepy told a YouTuber in an interview this month. Quote, Mama JF chose to go another way, went off-grid on her own volition. That's a project she's been working on and preparing for many years, and I have respected her liberty in doing so. So she chose to go, and now the police are looking for her because she has given no news to anyone, and she could be dead. She could be dead, or she could be having fun at some party and just didn't hear about her loved ones are worried about her. This is the most insane bullshit I've ever heard as an excuse. Yes, she just dropped everything in her entire life and went out into the world on her own with nothing. And, you know, I respected her decision. She's a free woman. She's out there living her life. She's probably at a party, you know? Evil women, am I right? Men should honestly have more control over their wives. If I could control her every action, then, you know, maybe she'd be here now. But I let her do her own thing. Guarantee, if she is dead and they find her body somewhere, I know exactly what his excuse will be. His excuse will be, someone else killed her because she was a woman out in the world on her own, and if she had the protection of her husband, as all women should, then she would be alive. That is guaranteed going to be his response if that happens. There is a bright possibility she's in hiding. I mean, she would probably make a statement, especially if the police are looking for her. Guys, the police are looking for her. There's a police investigation, apparently. That means something's up. If she would know if she was being looked for by the police. What is this? JF back in April. To celebrate Bitcoin rising to 30K and the leftists seething in my replies in response to facts about women, we have slaughtered a cow. Here are all the bones from the cow. Mama JF is preparing to boil those in order to extract all their delicious nutrients. And then Nick Diorio quote tweeted it saying, I have been thinking a lot about how JF knowing exactly how to slaughter a cow into pieces on his kitchen countertop. No reason in particular, just thinking. Gariepy said Patine has long expressed an interest in off-grid living, and, well, I mean, if she's, like, boiling the marrow out of cow bones, that's actually somewhat believable. And took one such trip several years ago. In a separate video this month, Gariepy recounted Patine's trip from that return from that previous trip. She said, yes, I thought you wanted me to leave, he recalled from her return. That is sometimes the state of delusion in the female mind, and I can't do anything about this. I have zero control over this. If we were in the society, the Christian society of 1920, maybe I could file some report and say, hey, my wife is a little crazy. She's a little out there. Can I control? Can I own her, basically? Wow, just proving exactly the claim I made earlier correct about this guy. By Gariepy's telling, Patine began expressing plans to take a trip in May, when she purchased camping equipment. She did not tell him how long she'd be gone, 2 weeks or forever. On June 17th, he says, she asked him to drop her off at a gas station near a bridge that is popular with hitchhikers. He did so in front of a gas station camera, he says. He says she remained in contact with him for the next 2 days before telling him she'd changed her plans and that she would be discarding her phone. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police released a similar timeline of Patine's last sightings. She was seen on June 17th in the Prince Edward Island town of Borden Charlton, they said, and spotted again on June 19th in Moncton, New Brunswick, approximately an hour from Borden Carlton. Then her trail vanishes. Her absence was also noted in Gariepy's videos. Patine was also known to Gariepy's audience and to his critics, particularly for a 2019 incident in which she appeared to accuse someone of attempted murder. That person appeared to be Gariepy's guest. No, seriously, you tried to kill me, okay? Patine said in the video, and I'm fucking sick, inaudible. You always follow me everywhere, and you say you want to make spiritual movement, but you fucking tried to kill me for 2 years, okay? You're a fucking psychopath, man. Gariepy ushered her off screen, explaining to the audience that Mama JF mistakes, quote, the guest for someone who has committed acts of violence against her, so that's why you see her currently sad. In June, Gariepy made a video acknowledging that Patine had left him, suggesting that she had opted for street life in a city over life as a housewife. Even when you get to that point, with Bitcoin reserves and everything, they will still choose to go to the city and be a crack whore, Gariepy said. That is just what women are. They are all crack whores deep inside, and some of them can hide it for temporary amounts of time for a specific purpose, if they have a plan. I'm not even talking here specifically about Mama JF. This guy is a professional misogynist. God damn, that is impressive. He described embarking on a deep clean of his house after Patine left. Those comments have drawn scrutiny from other far-right personalities. Ram Z. Paul, a far-right vlogger, called Gariepy's story very weird and noted that, quote, your immediate action was to deep clean and sanitize your home, unquote, could look to an outsider, quote, like you never expected her to return, unquote. In an interview with a YouTuber this month, Gariepy defended the cleaning. Quote, I cleaned my house when Mama JF was gone, Gariepy said. If you don't understand why, you probably have been single forever. Everyone knows that a female has a lot of imprint onto a house. They do a lot of crazy stuff. Sometimes they play with water. Sometimes it gets into the electronics. I mean, Mama JF, he's talking about women like they're 2-year-olds. It's actually insane. I mean, Mama JF has broken 2 of my laptops just playing with water. So when a woman leaves the house and she has controlled the fridge, she has controlled the plates, she has controlled the placement of all the tools in the kitchen for years, you come back to your home, you look at it, and you want to reshape it in the way you want. So I reshaped the home when I came back from dropping off Mama JF, and holy shit, did it felt comfortable. Quote, after years of having a packed fridge, I love a fridge that there's lots of space. He's French-Canadian, so barely literate, so, you know, he can barely speak, so, you know, bear with me as I try to choke out the way that this guy speaks English. I love to have so much space that I can put my arm in it and reach for my Diet Pepsi can that's in the center of it. I couldn't do that with Mama JF and all of her lettuces and her carrots and her beets. So yes, I did clean my house when an important event in my life happened, which is what my wife went on a trip and I will never know if she would come back. Ramsey Paul has been a guest on my show before, unquote. Gariepy continued, quote, I didn't expect to be betrayed like this, but the investigators didn't fall for this crap, unquote. Gariepy says he never reported Patine's absence to the police because he believes it is voluntary. Quote, honestly, I don't even know if she wants to be found, and that is something you have to weigh if you're in this situation, he said in a video. But sometime in late September or early October, someone apparently reported her disappearance. Quote, this launched a whole investigation that I've been involved in for, I don't know, maybe 4 days, 5 days, Gariepy said in an October 4th video. I don't know, but the feds are coming regularly to my house. They are waking me in the morning. I sleep late. They wake me up every morning. There are days when they come once. There are days when they come twice. There's always a truck of the feds in front of my house. That means he's very much a suspect. Hi, Mogminer. Gariepy said investigators have seen proof of his account of events, including footage from the gas station where he agreed to drop Patine. He added that Patine might be in Peru or Morocco, and that she might purposefully avoid detection by police. RCMP was not immediately able to comment on Gariepy's remarks. Gariepy has been involved in previous legal cases with women, all of them in civil court. The Daily Beast previously reported. During a contentious child custody battle in the US, a now ex-wife accused Gariepy of threatening to take their child to Canada. During the custody case, an undergraduate Duke University student testified that Gariepy had conducted an inappropriate sexual relationship with her when he was employed as a researcher at the school, and she was working as his research assistant. The student alleged emotional abuse by Gariepy. Gariepy is no longer with Duke, which declined to comment on the circumstances of his departure, citing university policy. Gariepy previously told the Daily Beast that the relationship was consensual. During that custody case, which he lost, Gariepy also became embroiled in a guardianship battle over a 19-year-old whom he described as his fiancée. The teenager had autism and had been assessed by a counselor as having, quote, the social and mental maturity of a 10 or 11-year-old child. I don't like the infantilization, but that hits pretty hard if you're trying to make a case in court for why this guy should not be able to be with that girl. The teenager lived with Gariepy for 3 weeks, during which time, quote, we were trying to make a baby, unquote. Yeah, okay, now I remember what the quote was. He said he wanted to make babies with barely legal girls. Up and down was it East Coast? I forget which coast it was. That was the quote from him. And he described, the words were, make babies, because he's, you know, weird with how he talks. He later testified in court. The teenager's parents, who sued for guardianship of the young woman and won, said she had returned home frightened under the mistaken belief that she was pregnant. In a video after the court cases, Gariepy lamented that a person's public statements could be used against them in custody battles, stating that, quote, that is a problem that a white ethno-state could solve. Damn, he is just the most mask-off of all Nazis, isn't he? Just full-on open about, like, the sexual deviancy and the desire to be a predator, how they want to, like, get into power so they can do it. He's just not very good at keeping the mask on. And as the RCMP put out calls for information on Patine this month, Gariepy drew lessons from her disappearance. After tweeting about the missing persons case earlier this month, Gariepy made a video in which he read some of the replies to his tweet. Quote, did everyone's girl lose her shit this summer? Mine went full postpartum bonkers in August. He read from one fan's reply. Quote, and I said, that's the cost of female liberty. Quote, 50,000 policemen, full-time salary, nationwide searches. We could feed the homeless 1 billion times. Ah, yes, very in favor of feeding the homeless, I'm sure he is. Just take our society and just allow some degree of control by thousands, or by husbands unto their wives. Just basic control of some little financial aspects, like no, you won't travel to Peru, and so I'm going to decide for you that you won't travel to Peru. Just allow some form of control for husbands over their wives, and you're not gonna get events like the Mama JF craziness here. And that is where the article ends, with his quote. So his wife is missing, has not been seen in months, and his response is, husbands need to have more control over their wives and stuff like this won't happen. Yeah, just genuinely fucked. Just a whole through and through fucked situation, and I can't really say much else. I really hope we get a happy ending to all this and she's not dead, or kidnapped or something like that, and she just ends up turning up not knowing that she's been, you know, being searched for by the police. But, man, do I hope JF Gariepy doesn't get to be on the streets much longer doing the predator shit that he does. Because he might be the most perfect example of a conservative I've ever seen. Just blatantly a predator, open about how his politics are all just a method for him to fulfill his predator desires. Very, very bad stuff.